Something that happened along the canals of Venice has had a ripple effect around the world.
George Clooney married Amal Clooney this year. Amal is a human rights lawyer who worked on the Enron case, was an advisor to Kofi Annan regarding Syria, and was selected for a three-person UN commission investigating rules of war violations in the Gaza Strip.
And she's, stunning and funny and the smartest person in every room she walks into.
Renowned for her beauty, charisma, and career achievements, Amal Clooney often finds herself in the spotlight. But recently, she's been making headlines for reasons outside her control. As George Clooney's wife, Amal must constantly live under the relentless gaze of the paparazzi, with every aspect of her personal life scrutinized. How does she cope in such situations? And what toll is it taking on her family? Join us as we delve into the details of what happened to George Clooney's wife, leading separate lives. Amal and George Clooney are essentially leading separate lives due to the nature of their jobs. They both are workaholics, and the different nature of their jobs takes them on extended stays to different parts of the world. While Amal is an established human rights lawyer who is playing a prominent role in the prosecution of Israeli leaders for their war crimes, George is an actor who is always busy directing movies or acting. Their marriage, which is on the rocks already, has been challenged by security concerns related to Amal's recent controversial work for the International Criminal Court, as well as George's desire to speak out on political issues, including the 2024 presidential campaign. Due to this, both Amal and George have had trouble sticking to a vow they made when they married in 2014. When the couple got married in 2014, they made a promise to each other and said that they wouldn't spend more than a week apart from each other.
Amal, whatever alchemy it is that brought us together, I couldn't be more proud to be your husband.
George Clooney also noted that he and Ama had talked about safeguarding against having too much on their plate without making time for family. To them, family comes first. To the public, they both seem like the picture of bliss on the red carpet. And of course, they never forget to gush about each other in public. But there are concerns about the standing of their marriage from friends. A lot of couples in Hollywood do not make it, and friends are worried their love story would end up like the cliché Hollywood love stories. They are in two very different worlds 90% of the time, as their jobs continue to demand more of their time. Consequently, they're leading separate lives. Her husband, George Clooney, is soon to relocate to New York City for about a year, where he is set to make his Broadway debut. He's writing and starring in a stage adaptation of his 2005 film about journalist Edward R. Murrow, with the play expected to open in the spring of 2025. The couple's separate work commitments mean they've been spending less and less time at their villa in Italy's Lake Como, which is the closest thing they have to a family home. And, even when they're at their villa, work is never far from their minds. Neither of them thinks twice about putting in 18-hour days on projects they're passionate about. Amal Clooney's work continues to take up her time, and it can be argued that her line of work puts her in harm's way. How dangerous is her work? Amal Clooney tackles Israel. Amal Clooney, whose parents fled from Lebanon during its civil war crisis, is one of the legal experts who recommended that the chief prosecutor of the world's top war crimes court seek arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and leaders of the militant Hamas group. The human rights lawyer wrote of her participation in a letter posted on the website of the couple's Clooney Foundation for Justice. She revealed that she and other experts in international law unanimously agreed to recommend that International Criminal Court Chief Prosecutor Karim Khan seek the warrants. According to her, she served on the panel because she believes in the rule of law and the need to protect civilian lives. She noted that the law that protects civilians in war was developed more than 100 years ago, and it applies in every country in the world, regardless of the reasons for a conflict. The panel comprised experts in international humanitarian law and international criminal law, and 2 of its members are former judges at criminal tribunals in The Hague, where the ICC is based. Amal noted. She also added that their decision was unanimous. The panel also published an op-ed about its recommendation in the Financial Times. Amal also stated that, as a human rights lawyer, she will never accept that the life of a child is less valuable than another's. She does not accept that any conflict should be beyond the reach of the law, nor that any perpetrator should be above the law. And that is why she supports the historic step taken by the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court to deliver justice to the victims of atrocities in Israel and Palestine. A panel of 3 judges at the ICC will decide whether to issue the arrest warrants and allow a case to proceed. The judges typically take 2 months to make such decisions. In an announcement, Khan accused Netanyahu, Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, and 3 Hamas leaders, Yahya Sinwar, Mohammed Deif, and Ismail Haniyeh, of war crimes and crimes against humanity in the Gaza Strip and Israel. Israel is not a member of the court, so even if the arrest warrants are issued, Netanyahu and Gallant do not face any immediate risk of prosecution. But the threat of arrest could make it difficult for the Israeli leaders to travel abroad. But, despite the efforts of Amal and her colleagues to quickly put an end to the conflict in the Middle East, not many share this same concern with them. President Biden joined Israel in denouncing the ICC's move to seek arrest warrants for Netanyahu and Gallant. He called the move outrageous and suggested that it placed the leaders of a democratic nation, responding to a brutal terrorist attack, on an equal footing with the organization that launched the attack, and whose goal is to eradicate that nation. The year 2024 has been a rough and difficult year for Amal, given the circumstances surrounding her life and her work. Has the year brought any kind of joy to her at all? A decade of love. Amal and George have been married for 10 years, and though the marriage might be going through a rough patch right now, the couple has experienced 10 years of bliss and love with each other. The Hollywood power couple became husband and wife in a stunning ceremony in Venice, Italy, on September 7, 2014. 10 years and 2 children later, George Clooney, who is now 63, and the human rights lawyer, 46, are still going strong and relish living a low-key life with their 7-year-old twins, Alexander and Ella. The love story of the couple began in Italy. In 2013, George, considered Hollywood royalty, assumed that he would indefinitely remain an eligible bachelor. He held a dinner party at his enormous villa on Lake Como. Amal Clooney, who was, by that time, highly esteemed in her career but not necessarily known to the wider public, was brought along as the guest of a mutual friend.
A friend of mine said, is it okay if I bring my friend over? I'm on my way to the Cannes Film Festival. Can I bring my friend over? And I was like, sure, bring her over.
The Oscar-winning actor told British Vogue of that life-changing evening. George noted that although she was beautiful, he also thought she was fascinating. He was also intrigued by her brilliance.
You know, she's this extraordinarily, fun, smart, beautiful, great woman. And,
the nature of her job excited him. The kind of clients she was taking on and the superhuman work that she was doing, all of it intrigued him. And from that moment on, he was taken with her. To him, it was love at first sight. The dinner went on into the night, and with the Italian lakes providing the ultimate romantic backdrop, sparks immediately flew between them. By early 2014, they were engaged. Amal and George, perhaps unsurprisingly, chose to hold their big day in Italy. opting for the romantic city of Venice, which to her husband is the most romantic city in the world. Naturally, the guest list was star-studded and made up of family and close friends of the bride and groom. Amal donned a custom-made French lace, Oscar de la Renta gown for the wedding, and George, in a custom Giorgio Armani tuxedo, exchanged vows in an intimate ceremony before hosting a larger reception attended by fellow A-listers, including Matt Damon, Bono, Cindy Crawford, and Randy Gerber. The same year they became husband and wife, Amal and her husband George laid down roots in the British countryside. The couple bought a stunning 17th-century Grade II listed building in Sonning, just up the road from Sonning-on-Thames village on the Oxfordshire-Berkshire border. But George and Amal put their own stamp on the building by undertaking some renovations on the £12 million house. They made it their home. It has multiple bedrooms and reception rooms, a study each for George and Amal, a cinema for screenings where the Oscar winner edits a lot of his work, a huge entry hall with high ceilings, and plenty of beautiful English architecture. 3 years after their wedding in Italy, George and Amal's world was changed forever when they welcomed their fraternal twins. Ella and Alexander were born on June 6, 2017, at St. Mary's Hospital in London, where Prince William and the Princess of Wales also welcomed all 3 of their children. Ahead of the birth, George joked he wanted to name the twins after his tequila brand, but Amal would put her feet down against him, sternly warning him against naming their children Casa and Amigos. Although they are one of the most well-known couples in the showbiz industry, George and Amal have been fiercely protective of their children. They have never shown their faces in the public eye, and they rarely even speak about them in interviews. In fact, in a recent interview, George reiterated how important it was to them that Alexander and Ella are protected. The actor explained that he and his family don't have the luxury to go about their business freely in a crowded area without being disturbed. They never have that moment where they can decide to take a walk through Central Park and not get hammered. The couple acknowledges that they deal in very serious subject matters and with very serious bad guys, and as a result, they don't want to have photos of their kids out there. So they have to work hard at trying to stay private, which is a very hard thing to do. George Clooney plays a very important role in the life of his wife, Amal. The two try as much as possible to always support and be there for one another. Given how important George is to Amal, his story is equally important. The world meets Clooney. George Clooney said hello to the world on May 6, 1961, in Lexington, Kentucky. His mother, Nina Bruce, was a beauty queen and city councilwoman. His father, Nick Clooney, is a former anchorman and television host, including 5 years on the AMC network. Although George Clooney was born and raised in a strict Roman Catholic family, he made some controversial statements about religion back in 1998. In 1998, he said that he did not know if he believed in heaven or even God. After his parents moved to Augusta, Kentucky, Clooney attended Augusta High School. While in school, he was a good student, as he stated that he earned all A's and a B in school. Not limited to just academic activities, he also played baseball and basketball. He tried out to play professional baseball with the Cincinnati Reds in 1977, but he did not pass the first round of player cuts and was not offered a contract. He attended Northern Kentucky University from 1979 to 1981, majoring in broadcast journalism, and very briefly attended the University of Cincinnati, but did not graduate from either. He later earned money selling women's shoes, selling insurance door to door, stocking shelves, working in construction, and cutting tobacco. What would eventually become of George? George Clooney becomes movie royalty. George Clooney's first role was as an extra in the television miniseries Centennial in 1978. which was based on the novel of the same name by James A. Michener and was partly filmed in his hometown of Augusta, Kentucky. Clooney's first major role came in 1984 in the short-lived CBS sitcom E&R, not to be confused with ER, the long-running medical drama. He played a handyman on the series The Facts of Life and appeared as Bobby Hopkins, a detective, on an episode of The Golden Girls. His first prominent role was a semi-regular supporting role in the sitcom Roseanne, playing Roseanne Barr's supervisor, Booker Brooks, followed by the role of a construction worker on Baby Talk, a co-starring role on the CBS drama Bodies of Evidence as Detective Ryan Walker, and then a year-long turn as Detective James Falconer on Sisters. In 1988, George played one of the lead roles in the comedy horror film Return of the Killer Tomatoes. In 1990, he starred in the short-lived ABC police drama Sunset Beat. During this period, George was a student at the Beverly Hills Playhouse Acting School for 5 years. George Clooney rose to fame when he played Dr. Doug Ross, alongside Anthony Edwards, Juliana Margulies, and Noah Weil on the hit NBC medical drama ER from 1994 to 1999. After leaving the series in 1999, he made a cameo appearance in the 6th season and returned for a guest spot in the show's final season. His work on the series did not go unnoticed, as he received 2 Primetime Emmy Award nominations for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series in 1995 and 1996. His performance also earned him 3 Golden Globe Award nominations for Best Actor, TV Series Drama in 1995, 1996, and 1997, losing out to co-star Anthony Edwards. After leaving ER, Clooney starred in commercially successful films, including Wolfgang Petersen's disaster film The Perfect Storm, which was a box office success. The same year he starred in the Coen brothers' adventure comedy Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?, alongside John Turturro, Tim Blake Nelson, and John Goodman. The film, a modern satire, was based on Homer's epic Greek poem The Odyssey and the 1941 classic film Sullivan's Travels. George played escaped convict Ulysses Everett McGill. He received a Golden Globe Award for Best Actor, Motion Picture Musical, or Comedy nomination for his performance. The following year, in 2001, Clooney reunited with Soderbergh for the heist comedy Ocean's 11, a remake of the 1960s Rat Pack film of the same name, with Clooney playing Danny Ocean, originally portrayed by Frank Sinatra. The film starred Clooney, Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts, Matt Damon, and Andy Garcia. The film cemented Clooney as a leading film star. It is Clooney's most successful film with him in the lead role, earning $451 million worldwide. George Clooney enjoyed immense success in Hollywood. He then decided to venture into business. But would his business venture be as successful? George enters the liquor business. Being a filmmaker and a big name in Hollywood means that money would not be a problem. But some actors, very few of them, even considered taking the next step and entering into the field of entrepreneurship. One such great personality is George Clooney, who is considered one of the most successful actors of all time. But still a larger share of his wealth comes from his other passion, tequila. The story of his venture into the business starts in 2012, in Mexico, where George Clooney and close friend Randy Gerber, businessman and husband of Cindy Crawford, owned homes directly next to each other. The two built their homes on a private piece of land called Casamigos, which translates to House of Friends. While in Mexico, both men would drink a lot of tequila. They would go out to bars and restaurants, and bartenders would recommend them. Some were good, some not so good, and some expensive, Gerber noted. Both friends embarked on making their own tequila, when they couldn't find one that had the right combination of smoothness, flavor profile, and price. After some hustle and more than 700 blind taste test samples with friends and family, they finally landed on something they were thrilled with. Initially, they created tequila for their personal enjoyment and kept the stacks at their homes. They also shared the homemade tequila with their family and friends. The duo never intended to commercialize the formula, but their friends and family loved it so much that they quickly reached around 1,000 bottles a year in just a limited group of family and friends. At the time, they were manufacturing as a sub-brand of their producer and didn't have the proper certifications and licenses to sell or distribute. But given the level of scale they were reaching so quickly, they were forced to make a choice: either slow down or double down. They chose the latter. The duo launched Casamigos as a real brand and brought in real estate developer Mike Meldman as a third partner. In 2013, the Casamigos signed a distribution and importing agreement and began selling in the U.S. The brand had some advantages like Clooney's celebrity, Gerber's connections to nightlife, and Meldman's deep ties to luxury hospitality. The perfect blend of partnership. The brand quickly became big, and in 2014 it sold 38,000 9-liter cases, which is over 450,000 bottles. In 2018, they doubled to 80,000 9-liter cases. The company's rapid growth was closely watched by another large company, Diageo, which saw the value in scaling Casamigos across the country and the globe. In 2017, Diageo announced they would acquire Casamigos in a deal worth over $1 billion. The deal consisted of an initial $700 million payout, with potential for an additional $300 million over the next 10 years based on performance. Today, Casamigos is one of the first tequila brands that comes to people's minds and is sold in nearly every bar and liquor store in America and dozens of countries worldwide. Would the Clooneys stand the test of time despite the distance between them? How do they plan to protect their relationship in the face of their demanding jobs? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.